Hi there. We're on week 10, day one. And for anybody who watched and participated in worship yesterday morning and we're like, what is she talking about? Don't worry about it. My days are so confused that the message about missing a week was actually false, fortunately. And so we're going to pick up today with Numbers 29 through 32 as our reading for the day. In Numbers, as the Israelites are making their way to the border to enter into the promised land, this is not the same as the first time that they made it, where they were going through, they were ready, they were going, and they were anticipating going immediately, pretty within about a year's time of having left Egypt. But they got there, and the spies who went in, 10 of them said, no, it's beautiful land, don't get us wrong, but there are giants in the land, and we'll be in danger. And it was only Joshua and Caleb who stood up and said, God will be there with us. Well, as a result of that, they had to wait 40 years. Well, now on this final trek to go from the wilderness to the promised land, they are encountering a number of people groups who are not necessarily for the Israelites. They're looking at this huge body of people, over 1 million souls, who could potentially be a danger to them and their communities. And so we have instances where there are actually fights and battles between the Israelites and the surrounding peoples. Here in this section in Numbers 29 through 32, we have a rather disturbing, honestly, incident in which God calls on the Israelites to fight the Midianites and to annihilate them. It's a holy war. And for those of us today who believe in Jesus as a God of peace and a God of peace and love and mercy and grace, this idea of annihilating a peoples, not just the soldiers, but the women and the children, all of the cattle, is just very disturbing. And the fact of the matter is that we have to overcome our 21st century lenses, and we need to look at this from the perspective of the people in the time in which that they lived. There were no borders, there were no armies with a lot of equipment to protect themselves, and there just really wasn't a lot of options. And so it seemed like annihilation was honestly the best option. The other thing is that because this is a holy war, because God initiates it, if you will, we also know a couple of other things. First, the Midianites attacked the Israelites. This was a violent people who worshiped the false god Baal. And so right there is reason to engage in this. The second is that it's God's war. And while we don't necessarily understand, we do have to trust that God is perfect and has a purpose in doing this. God is the judge of all peoples, and the Midianites apparently at this point were evil and corrupt and needed to be removed from the earth. And last but not least, God will eventually war against sin and Satan. And we'll see that when Jesus comes and confronts Satan directly. And so this is, if you will, a warm up, so to speak. So as disheartening as it is, as difficult as and disturbing as it is to read, there is a purpose in this holy war. And again, we also have to look at it not through our own lens of 21st century US, but in the day and time that it took. So good luck reading today, Numbers 29 through 32, and we will catch you tomorrow.